All right, guys, you are welcome back to my channel. This is interval part 5, and in this part 5 we're looking at augmented interval. This is the best explained interval lesson you can see online. So let's get into augmented interval. From where can we get augmented interval? From the previous one we've done. So if you've not seen the previous interval lessons, please check them. Now we can get augmented interval from two types of interval. One, from a perfect interval, and two, from major interval. What am I saying in essence is that from any perfect interval, we can what? Get what? Augmented. And how did that happen? When a perfect interval gets increased, or when a perfect is raised, it becomes an augmented interval. That is what from a perfect. Then the second one is from a major interval. The same thing. When a major is what? Get raised. To raise an interval means what? To add a semitone. So we say perfect plus semitone will give us augmented. Major interval plus a semitone will also give us what? Augmented. Don't forget, semitone is the same thing as what? Half step. So here on the board, I have 8 intervals. The first 4, interval 1, 2, 3, 4, they are all different shades or different kinds of perfect interval. Here I have a perfect fourth. Here is a what? A perfect fifth. This is a what? A perfect unison. And here is a what? A perfect octave. All right. E flat to E flat. That's octave. Perfect octave. So perfect plus semitone. So how do we do that? Now, let's consider the first interval where we have D to G. That is a perfect fourth. All right. If this guy gets raised, the second note of the interval, all right, if it gets raised, that is, we add a sharp here. If you fix a sharp here, the interval becomes what? An augmented interval. Do you get that? If the the second note of the interval get raised, when you increase this, the interval becomes augmented. Okay, that is 1. 2, when the root of the interval gets lowered, okay, when the first note of the interval gets lowered, we also have augmented interval. Let me explain further. Now, the idea is, look at the note. This is D to G. Okay, let's assuming the distance between G to D is this what? This line. When we raise G, if G gets raised, that means the line moves forward by half step or semitone. So therefore, D to G sharp makes the line longer, and the line is what? Perfect. So when the line gets longer, it becomes augmented. That is 1. 2, when the root of the interval, the first note of the interval, when it gets reduced, lowered, to lower the note. To lower a note means to put a flat on the note. So when we put flat on D, what happens? D moves back. Okay, therefore the distance becomes bigger by this guy moving backward. Do you get? So it's either we raise the second note or we lower the first note. Any of the two will give us what? Augmented. So it give us augmented what? Augmented fourth. So for this example, we are going to raise this guy. We're going to raise this. When this guy is raised, it becomes augmented fourth. I hope you understand that. Now, in the second one, we have F to C. That is in the scale of F major. F to C. C is the fifth note. So F to C is a what? Is a perfect fifth. Is a perfect fifth. The same idea. the way I explain this is also the same thing. So I want to lower the root. When the root gets lowered, it increases the space. The line becomes bigger or it becomes longer. Therefore, this becomes what? F flat. F flat to C becomes augmented fifth. Augmented fifth. I hope you are following. The third one here, we have the two notes in the same line, the second line. And when we have two notes in the same position, either the same line or the same space, that is what? A perfect unison. All right. Now, if we raise the second note, this is the first note, this is the second note. If you raise the second note, it becomes augmented unison. So I'm raising this guy here. That is augmented, AUG, unison. I hope you are following. Then the fourth one, we have E flat to the E flat above. That is what? Perfect octave, or we say perfect eighth. So in this case, I want to lower this. All right. Now, a note that is already lowered, because this is flat here, the note is already lowered. So you want to lower that note. So what do you call that? That is double. That is double flat. All right. So if I add another flat, sorry, let me just squeeze it in there. Another flat to this. Don't forget that this E flat is already lowered. So you're now adding another flat. So it is called double flat. By so doing is what increases the space between the two notes. So that we call that also augmented eighth, or just say augmented octave. I hope you're following. So these four, this is what? Fourth, fifth, unison, and eighth octave. So I've used the four kinds of what's it called? Perfect to explain. Now the second four, 5, 6, 7, 8, they are all major intervals. Number five is a major second, that is A to B. A to B in the scale of A major. Second space is A. All right. So major second. Number 6 is what? Major third, that's F to A. And number 7 is C to A, major sixth. And the last one here, G to F sharp. G to F sharp, that is major 7. And don't forget what we said here. We said we can also derive our augmented interval from any major interval. So when a major gets increased, it also becomes what? An augmented. So let's start from this. So the second note of the interval, which is B, I'm raising my B. When B is raised, it becomes augmented second. Augmented second. Why? Because A to B is a second, first note to second note. So we are raising this guy. We are raising this. The same idea, when you lower this, the first note of the interval, it be coming back. Lower means it's coming back. It's still the same idea. The line becomes longer. Do you understand? The line becomes longer. So we're going to do that here with this, with the second one, which is F to A. F to A, first note to third note, is a what? Major third. But when it becomes bigger, it becomes augmented. So we are going to lower F. So F become F flat. So when F is lowered, therefore the line gets increased, it gets longer than a major. So we call it augmented third. Okay. Then number 7, C, the scale of C major. I don't need to write that on the board again. Scale of C major, that is what? Major sixth. Major sixth. So I raised the second line, sorry, the second space, which is A. Therefore, this becomes augmented sixth. And the last but not the least, in the scale of G major, first note to the seventh note, that is what? Augmented, sorry, that is your major seventh. Your major seventh. So we are going to reduce this. When we lower G, we lower G. You can see I'm trying to what? Increase the second note, then lower the first note. Just keeping, interchangeably like that, so that we can, so that when you see any such interval, I'm going to give you about two examples, two questions that you're going to give me the answers. All right, you're going to drop the answers in the comment section. So let's go. So I want to lower G. G is lowered. Therefore, this becomes augmented seventh. So I've made this as simple as possible. Can you describe these intervals? This is 1, 2. So I want you to drop the answers in the comment section. So I'll see you in the next part. Thank you.